Hey guys, Mooky here, and I'm back with another part of What If Izuku Had Archer's Powers. This is part 22, so let's get into it because I don't want to wait any longer. After what happened last night with Koda, Izuku finally wake up early alongside everyone in Class 1A, as Aizawa tells Bakugo to throw a ball just like he did in the practical exam during the beginning of the year, as he wants to see how much he's improved. As both Mina and Kaminari get excited, wondering if since they last did this, how much he's improved. Probably throw it a lot farther, as he does usual go to hell. If Izuku don't thinking to himself, go to hell indeed. As Aizawa shows him that the meter didn't really change a bit when he first used it, saying that it wasn't really saying that they improved their quirks abilities and how they can use them more effectively from battle. However, their quirks powers are are lower. That's why this training camp is to improve your quirks, your abilities, the way. And this training is going to be like hell for all of you, as everything goes like as canon. As Class 1B finally sees Class 1A training as well, everyone else's training is still the same as canon. As for Izuku's, his is a lot different actually. For him, he's planning on creating almost all of his weapons and seeing how much of a limit he can make with depending on the materials he has and how powerful the weapon he creates is, being his two basic blades, Bakuya and Kinshiro. And he can create at least up to 100 of the suckers. As for Caliber, he can create 50 of them. As for Excalibur, only 10. Masamune, 10 as well. And not only that, that's only his limit before his body gives out, reaching his breaking point. However, he's also trying to wonder about the stock power throughout his body. When he creates them, he puts all the stock power of One for All into each blade, causing them to explode once he reaches his limit, so they won't be laying around everywhere. So, making it easier on himself and everyone else as well. As he feels stressed out, wondering what he's going to do if he needs to create more powerful weapons. Not only that, he knows he can't use unlimited blade works just yet, due to it takes a huge strain on his body. As the day ends, they begin, just like in canon, they make curry for their dinner, and Izuku begins going to see where Kota is, and to explain how he feels about heroes. As Kota gets irritated seeing Izuku at his secret hiding spot. However, Izuku tells him, "Look, Kota, I know your parents. Were they the water hose heroes?" As Kota says, "Did Mandalay tell you that?" As, "Yeah, I know it's none of my business to interfere, but," as he says, "they were just showing off. That's what heroes like you always do. They just show off. Like, because of that, they wouldn't have died." As now, Izuku begins realizing, does he really think that? Does he really think heroes are just in it for fame? Or does he hate quirks in general? As Izuku tells him, I didn't know what I could do with my quirk. If anything, I was kind of afraid of what I could do. I mostly just made basic stuff, like pencils, erasers, cups, all that stuff. To me, I was afraid of using my quirk to its full capabilities, mostly due to what I could actually make, and that being possibly weapons. And I was afraid of that. But soon I realized that I could use them to defend people, protect people. I think denying quirks and heroes in general isn't safe as well. So as Koda gets pissed off and tells him to go away, leave him alone, as Izuku says, "Alright, if that's what you want," and lays down lays the curry that he made for Koda on the ground and leaves. Just like in canon, he still trains his amount of how many weapons he can create. As he switches from how many weapons he can create, he's wondering how many weapons he can improve on, like Kinshiro and Bakuya, his swords. He knows how to create his the wing blades forms of them, but he's wondering if he can make anything else into them. Doing that would limit his uses on how many weapons he can create, and almost all the power of One for All into them as well. But he still figures something out before he asks Aizawa if All Might's going to be there at the camp, just like in canon. As Aizawa tells him that that's not going to happen. Not many people know about this location, Midoriya. So All Might will be at the school instead of being here. Besides, if he was here, who knows who would find out anyway. As Izuku begins thinking, yeah, maybe it's a good thing. But I would still want to know how to use One for All more effectively with projection. Snapping himself out of it, he finally goes back to training, and just as usual, Shoto begins asking Izuku if he's doing okay, and he says, "Well, I'm actually more worried about Koda." As Shoto says, "Who?" Izuku tells him, Mandalay's cousin, the kid over, as he turns around and sees that Koda isn't there. And Shoto tells him, "Oh yeah, that kid. You're worried about him?" As Izuku tells Shoto everything he wants to tell him that heroes aren't as bad as he thinks, that he may hate all heroes in general, and want to show him what it truly means to be a hero. As Shoto tells him, that's easier said than done. Once a person creates their own mindset, it's hard for them to change to somebody else's, or at least listen to other people. It's how you were with me, after all, when we first fought. In a way, it was kind of annoying as hell. As Izuku says, "Yeah, thanks a lot, Shoto. I really appreciate it." And it begins, but that doesn't mean I didn't appreciate it at all. You were able to show me something that I couldn't see myself. It's because of that, I really thank you, Midoriya. However, some people can see more if they're shown instead of told. As Izuku says, maybe you're right, Shoto. Thanks. Momo sees this and sees that Izuku is smiling because she was worried about him last night as well, and doesn't really have to worry about anything anymore, as she was bothered by both Jiro and Momo to light the other flames for them, as alongside Shoto as well. Just like in canon, they began doing their test of courage trial for tonight with Class 1A versus Class 1B. However, Mina, Kirishima, Sato, Sero, and Kaminari were dragged by Mr. Aizawa for their remedial classes anyway, so they won't be taking part of this, with them getting pissed off, saying that they wanted to test their courage. However, just like in canon, everyone is paired up and Izuku is paired up alone, with Momo wanting to be with her boyfriend after all. However, she's with Aoyama, which she's not complaining either. However, after this happens, that's when the League of Villains finally attacks the summer camp with both Spinner and Magna there. However, a third person is there, a man in silver armor, with them attack, with smoke all around the camp, and blue flames surrounding the forest as well. With knowing that the villains are here, Izuku begins thinking, "Where's Koda?" As Koda sees everything, and soon a figure behind him appears behind him. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it a lot. If you guys like this video, please like and comment down below and tell me what you guys think. Also subscribe if you want to keep up with my other videos as well. It helps out my channel a lot. I would really appreciate it. At any rate, this is Mooky signing out. Later. After what happened with the villains finally attacking the summer camp, and both Magna, Spinner, and a man with silver armor who is named Berserker basically comes down to attack Mandalay and all the Tiger and all the other students as well, with Spinner giving out a speech saying that we are here on behalf of the League of Villains and Stain's will to bring you all down. As Magna tells Spinner, "You don't need to worry about them, Spinner. I mean, they are going to die anyway." Soon after, the man with the silver armor says, "Correct. These false heroes must be put down. It's time for them to show them what the ideas of Stain truly are." As the man with the armor begins glowing, a dark aura begins surging around him. His helmet, that was just black, began turning red. His eyes began turning red, and the darkness swarming his armor. And soon, there's nothing. Screams erupting from him as now a huge shockwave blows through the area, not knocking everyone down, but still a gust of wind comes from him, from his screams, and soon he's now rushing at both Mandalay and Tiger at full speed, screaming out, "Die, heroes!" On that side, Izuku begins going up to Koda's secret hiding spot, where Koda is, wondering if he's all right, hoping that he can get him to camp without fighting any villains. But little to his shock, Koda is there with Muscular. With Muscular being interested in Koda's hat, saying, "That looks like a cool hat. Care to trade me for this dull-looking mask? They couldn't give me any of the good stuff before time. Oh well. Don't mind if as Koda began trying to run from Muscular, he began seeing his face, that this is the same man that killed his parents. As Izuku grabs Koda with his whip sword, without hurting him in the process, before Muscular can smash down onto Koda, and grabbing him and putting him behind him. As Koda says, why? How are you?" As Izuku says, "It's okay, Koda. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to save you." As Muscular saying, "Oh, I know you. You're Izuku Midoriya, right? That means you're on Shigaraki's kill list." As Izuku saying, "Kill list? So the League of Villains really are here?" As he's saying, "Yeah. Not only that, that means I get to have fun with you. But before then, I want to ask you, do you know where a kid named Bakugo is?" As Izuku saying, "Wait, you want Kachan? Why do you want him?" As Muscular says, "I only want to know where his location is. And if you don't know where he is, then I don't really care too much. Don't mind. But I get to have fun killing you." As Muscular rushes at Izuku at full speed with his muscle fibers head bound to punch down Izuku. As Izuku pushes Koda to the side, making sure he doesn't get hit, he summons both his twin swords and blocks the attack with One for All, with one for all, full cow, at least 20%. It still hurt. However, he didn't break any bones like before. As Muscular says, "Oh, you're pretty tough, kid. I thought you would be weaker than this." As Izuku brushes off his attack and increases his speed, striking at Muscular with a fury of slices and attacks from his swords. With Muscular saying, "Is that all you got? I expected better." Izuku getting a little bit irritated and decides to reinforce his blades and turn them into his wing blades, increasing the strength and power of both of his swords and slicing through Muscular's muscle fibers as he says, "Oh, not bad. Not bad indeed." As Izuku begins rushing at Muscular at full speed, striking at his muscle fibers, saying, "All I need to do is wear him down and knock him back. He's sure he can't have this much power. If I can bring him down to his knees a little bit, I can be able to get to Kota and to Mr. Aizawa so he can nullify this guy's quirk. That's all I need to do." Is what Izuku keeps thinking this. Before then, Muscular begins saying, "All right, enough playing around," as he grabs both Izuku's swords and then basically headbutt him, knocking Izuku on the ground and causing his swords to fade out, forcing him to Before then, Muscular began wanting to crush Izuku, raising his arm, and Izuku dodges in the nick of time. Before then, Izuku creates Caliber and releases a lot of power into the blade, hoping that it could blast Muscular or at least knock him out a bit from the attack. However, all it did was nothing. It only made like little scratches around his body, and he's still standing as he's saying, "What? How? I put a lot of power into that." But, as Muscular tells him, "You got some skills, kid. I'll give you that. It's fun. But you're still too weak." As he rushes at Izuku, being shocked from what just happened, basically punches him through the gut and then smashing him onto the ground. Izuku, feeling knocked out from the attack, almost knocked out from the attack, he still has enough strength into him to create a arrow filled with one for all stock power, charged it up and then stabbed it through the ground, causing Muscular to lose his footing for a bit so Izuku could get up. As blood begins rushing out of Izuku's mouth and also his head as well, as both of his arms almost feel broken, that he can barely even feel them. However, he knows that he has to give it his all. Saying, as Muscular gets back up, he begins saying, "Not bad, kid. Again, I'm having a lot of fun fighting against you. I wish I could keep this going. I really do." Soon after, Izuku gasping for air, trying to figure something out before he could think, a rock hit Muscular on his head right in front of him, saying, "Huh?" As he looked behind him and saw Koda in a throwing position, saying, "Koda, what are you?" As Koda says, "You remember the water hose heroes? The heroes that you killed? Those are my parents." "How? Why? Why did you do it?" As Muscular says, "Wait, the water hose heroes? Those were your parents? Oh my god, that is so funny, if I had to say so." As Koda says, "It's not funny. It's because of you. It's because of you that the world doesn't make sense for me anymore." As Muscular says, "Your parents did ruin my eye, but I wasn't mad about that. I only killed them because they were in my way, because they were trying to do a hero's job. I would have just broken their bones just for the eye. However, they kept trying to stop me over and over again. So of course I had to kill them. But it's their own faults, trying to do their best as heroes, even though this isn't how that world works. This is how the world works. Only those who are strong can decide a person's fate. As Izuku gets pissed off, saying, "You really think that? A bastard like you really thinks that?" As Izuku gets pissed off and decides, "I had enough of this. I'm going to end this here and now." As he creates Excalibur in his right hand and charging it up with full power. "I'm going to end this here and now. You are going to pay for what you did to him, to his parents." As a huge blade of light comes from the sword, as Muscular says, "Huh? This is a lot different from what he did before, from that other sword." As Izuku screams out, "You're done for! Excalibur!" Instead of slicing it down on Muscular's head, he swings it onto the side, forcing the blade to hit Muscular head on. As Izuku feels almost knocked out, as it feels strenuous even trying to stand up, as he's using Excalibur as a stand to hold himself up. As Kota says, "Hey, are you okay? I mean, you're still..." As Izuku tells him, "Don't worry about me. We need to get down." As Muscular begins coughing up a little bit of blood and says, "Again, you are a lot of fun, kid. I can see why Shigaraki wants you dead now." As Izuku, with wide open eyes, see, my God, he survived an attack from Excalibur, wondering on how powerful Muscular truly is, seeing on how powerful. "I wanted to have a little bit of fun with you, and you did give me that. And now I want to give it everything I got too. It only seems fair, don't you think?" As he removes the artificial eye and puts in another one, where his power begins amplifying his speed, knocking Izuku right through the gut again as blood comes out of his mouth. Not only that, breaking his right and left arm as well, as Izuku screams out in agony and pain, and then knocking Izuku against the wall as well of the mountainside, feeling so much pain he can barely even keep his eyes open after what just happened to him. Can barely even feel his arms too. Yes, but even if he tries moving them, he hurts in so much pain. As Koda says, "Stop, please stop this." As Muscular goes up to Koda and begins saying, "Oh, do you want to take his place? Do you want to die in his stead? Because I don't mind if that's the case." As Izuku's saying, "No, I'm not allowing that. Not at all." As he charges up one for all throughout his body, 20% of full cow. So much strength. He rushes at Muscular, raising up his broken arms and then smashing him into the ground, keeping him away from Koda in the process. As he says, "Still, you have that much power, even after having broken arms and almost lost a lot of blood in the process." As Izuku is gasping for air more and more, knowing that his ribs are also broken as well. And as he says, "Okay then, I'll just end it here. I did have a lot of fun though." As Izuku tries his best, given his all, and creates his Sakura shield, and storing up all of One For All through the shield, hoping to increase its power. that he could protect Kota in the process, as Muscular rushes right to Izuku and through the shield as it's keeping up, as Izuku is being pushed back, as he screams to Kota to run as fast as he can and get away from here. As Kota tells him, "But what about you? You can't," as he says, "Go now!" As the shield begins cracking each time over, and soon slams Izuku down to the ground just like in canon, telling him, "Show me your blood!" As Izuku begins blacking out a little bit, seeing the people that matter to him, being Bakugo, All Might, his mom, and Momo as well, telling him, "Sorry, I couldn't be there for you guys." Soon after, water begins flowing onto Muscular, wondering what's going on. Being from Koda, that he awakened his quirk, telling him, "Let him go!" As Izuku saying, "Koda, is that you?" As Muscular tells him, "Don't worry, kid, I'll get to you later. Just give me a minute." As Izuku rises up with One for All, instead of using the usual 20%, he uses all of it. He uses 100% of power. Everything he has. "You won't lay a finger on him, you son of a bitch!" As he creates Bakuya and says, "I am the bone of my sword. Steel is my body, and fire is my blood. I have created over 1,000 blades, unaware of loss and nor aware of gain. Withstood pain to create weapons, waiting for one's arrival. I have no regrets. This is my only path. My whole life was unlimited blade works." But instead of the field of blades that would swarm all around him for at least 50 meters, instead all the blades, all of unlimited blade works, formed into his Bakuya sword, and then transformed into a handgun. As Izuku uses his left hand to hold Muscular back, he uses his right hand to shoot his new blade gun. And as at first, nothing happened to Muscular. As he says, "Is that all you got? I swear if..." Soon after, he stopped and then gone to his knees and began screaming in agony, saying, "What the hell? What the hell did you do to me?" As Izuku basically says, "Your demise." And then screams more in agony as dozens of swords began plowing right out of his body from blade first, as he screams and so much blood coming out of him. Soon after, Izuku, seeing this and finally took a rest, was about to fall when Koda sees Izuku stand his ground, saying, "I finally understand what you mean, Mandalay. He really is a hero. My hero." And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please tell me what you guys think down below in the comments. And also leave a like button if you like the video as well. And subscribe if you want to keep up with my other videos as well. I would really appreciate it. At any rate, this is Mooky, signing out. Later, guys.